the weaver of the infinite canvas, the full epic, minutes zero, the age of the shadow. In the dawn of time, the world was a masterpiece painted in only one color, black. The great spirit, Nyame, held the sun in his right hand for the day, but in his left hand he held a void for the night. Back then, when the sun dipped below the horizon, the world didn't just get dark, it disappeared. In the village of Ouida, the people lived in a state of the great huddle. As soon as the sky turned purple, families would tie themselves together with ropes of hemp so they wouldn't lose one another in the absolute blackness. There were no stars to guide the fishermen, no moon to light the path of the traveler. Asha was a child of this shadow, but she had a gift, her hearing. While others trembled, she listened to the night. She heard the way the river moved differently when it couldn't be seen. She heard the heartbeat of the earth. She realized that the darkness wasn't an enemy. It was a silent teacher waiting for a voice. She began to ask the question that no one dared to whisper. If the Great Spirit made our eyes, why did he create a world that hides from them? Minutes 2 to 30, the journey to the Baobab of Bones. Seeking the truth, Aisha traveled to the forbidden grove where the Baobab of Bones stood. It was said that this tree was the only thing that remained visible at night because its bark was made of the crystallized memories of the first humans. There sat Nana Kwasi. He wasn't just an elder, he was a linguist of the unseen. He sat before a loom made of lightning-struck ebony. He wasn't weaving wool or cotton, he was weaving the very air. Nana, Aisha said, her voice trembling in the vast silence. The people are tired of being blind. We are losing our stories because we cannot see the faces of those who tell them. Nana Kwasi didn't look up. His shuttle moved with the rhythm of a heartbeat. Thump, clack, thump, clack. Stories are not seen with the eyes, daughter. They are seen with the soul. But Nyami is jealous. He keeps the wisdom of light in a clay pot beneath his stool in the sky. He fears that if humans have light at night, they will stop dreaming and start conquering. Minutes 4 to 7, the great forgetting and the spider's bargain. Nana Kwasi told Aisha the secret history. He spoke of Anansi, the spider who was once the royal weaver of the heavens. Anansi had seen the loneliness of the humans. He decided to play a game with Nyami. I will weave you a robe, Anansi had told the Great Spirit. That is so beautiful, it will make the sun look like a dull stone. But in exchange, you must give me the shards of the shattered moon. Anansi worked for 1,000 years. He didn't use thread. He used the laughter of children, the salt of tears, and the courage of warriors. He wove a tapestry of human experience. But when he presented it to Nyame, the Great Spirit was so moved that he wept. One of Nyame's divine tears fell onto the loom, and the tapestry shattered into 1,000,000,000,000 pieces. That was the great forgetting, Nana Kwasi whispered to Isha. The light was broken, the stories were scattered, and ever since, the night has been empty. Minute 7-9, the weaving of the stars. Isha realized her purpose. Then we must pick up the pieces, Nana. If the light is shattered, we must weave it back together, one star at a time. Nana Kwasi smiled, and for the first time, his skin began to glow like a coal in a forge. He handed Aisha a shuttle made of ivory. Then weave, daughter, weave the story of your mother's strength. Weave the story of the first rain. As Aisha began to weave, the air began to shimmer. Every time she spoke a memory, a spark flew from the loom. She spoke of the hunt, a spark flew up and became the great hunter constellation. She spoke of the wisdom of the water, a spark became the shimmering Milky Way. The village of Ouida looked up. The ropes they used to tie themselves together fell away. For the first time, they saw the silhouettes of the trees. They saw the reflections in the water. The night was no longer a wall. It was a map, Minutes 9 tapestry. The sky was now a swirling masterpiece of silver and gold. Nana Kwasi faded into the bark of the baobab tree, his task finally complete. Aisha stood alone under a canopy of 1,000,000,000 lights. She returned to her village, not as a girl who feared the dark, but as the first star child. She taught the people that every time they did a deed of kindness or shared a piece of ancient wisdom, they were adding a new star to the sky. The video ends with a slow zoom out from the village, showing the entire continent of Africa glowing under a sky so bright it looks like a second day. The final voiceover says, "The night is never empty. It is simply a canvas. And you are the weaver."